Hi, this is Robbie Thomas, Bay Area Downsizer. If you were ever thinking of selling your house, there are things to consider when selling, and these are a few of the detailed overview before selling your house. Let's get into it. So, are you asking yourself these questions about selling your house? So, if you're debating whether you want to sell your house right now, it may be because you have some unanswered questions. Here's some information that can help. So, first question is it even a good idea to move right now? If you own a home already, you may be tempted to wait because you don't want to sell and take on a higher mortgage rate on your next house. But your move may be a lot more feasible than you think. And that's because of how much your house can likely has likely grown in value. Think about it. Do you know a neighbor who sold their house recently? If so, did you hear what it sold for? With how much home values have gone up in recent years, the number may surprise you. According to Lawrence Yun, chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, the typical homeowner has gained 140,900 in housing wealth in the last 5 years alone. That's significant. And when you sell, that increase in value can give you what you need to fund your next move. And this is for the national average. Point number two is, will I be able to find a home I like? Which is a genuine question. So if this is on your mind, it's probably because you remember how hard it was to find a home over the past few years. But in today's market, it isn't as challenging. Data from Realtor.com shows how much inventory has increased. The white line over here shows we have more homes for sale now than we did at any other time in the past 5 years. That means you have more options for your move and the best chance in years to find a home you love. Number three, are buyers still buying? And last, if you're worried no one's buying with rates and prices where they are right now, here's some perspective that can help. While there weren't as many buyers active right now as there'd been in a normal market, that doesn't mean nothing's selling. According to National Association of Realtors, based on the current pace, we're on track to sell 4.03 million homes this year, not including new construction. Here's what the numbers actually mean when you break it down. 4.01 million homes divided by 365 days in a year is 10,986 homes that sell each day. 10,986 homes divided by 24 hours is 458 homes selling per hour. And if you further divide that, 458 homes divided by 60 minutes is roughly 8 homes selling every minute. Yes, it is a lower number because at the height of the pandemic in 2021, it was around 6.2 million homes sold. So it's about a 2 million something lower than that peak, but you're still roughly looking at 8 homes selling every minute. So just think about it. Just in the same time it took you to read this, 8 homes sold. Let that sink in. Every minute, buyers are making moves and sellers are closing deals. If selling a house is part of your next chapter, we can make it happen. And roughly 11,000 homes are still selling every day, and yours could be next. If you want to talk more about these questions or need more information about what's happening, reach me at 510 374 2264. Next slide. What every homeowner needs to know in today's shifting market. Yes, the market has shifted and is continuing to shift lower. The housing market is getting back to a healthier, more normal place. And what you need to remember is even with that shift, there's still plenty of opportunity to be had if you're thinking about selling, whether that's next month or next year. You just need to stay up to date on what's happening in the market and have a strategy that matches the moment. Here's your update. So the inventory is up, buyer power is coming back, and according to the data, the number of homes sale is rising back towards more normal levels. So, a number of homes for sale at highest point in 6 years. This is in 2017. This is the July of each year. So it's between 2017 and 2025. For each year, In 2017, it was 1.322,676, and the lowest was inventory was in 2021, 546 and 697 in July, and in July of 2025, it's 1,102,787. So still under the 2017 July, but rising. But inventory growth is going to vary a lot based on where you live. If you're in a market where the number of homes for sale is back to normal, buyers may have more sway than you'd expect. That doesn't mean buyers have all the power, it just means they have more choices. So your home has to stand out. But if you live where inventory is still pretty limited, you may see more buyers competing for your house. No matter where you are, the key is to work with a pro who can help you adjust your game, plan for your local market. The right price matters more than ever. With more homes to choose from, there's more competition between the sellers now because there's more housing inventory and less buyers. Today's buyers are quick to skip over homes that feel overpriced. That's why pricing your home right is the secret to selling quickly and for top dollar. Miss the mark though, and you may have to backtrack. Today, about 1 in 5 sellers, that's yes, 20.6%, are reducing their asking price to attract buyers. Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com, says the rising share of price reduction suggests that a lot of sellers are anchored to prices that aren't realistic in today's housing market. Today's sellers would be wise to listen to feedback they're getting from the market. The best way to get that information, lean on your local agent, because if your price isn't compelling, it's not going to sell. It's not selling. Flexibility wins negotiations. Gone are the days of buyers waiving inspections and appraisals just to get a deal done. Now that buyers have more options, they're able to ask for things like repairs, credits, help with closing costs, and more. Some even ask for furniture. Data from Redfin shows nearly 44.4% of sellers are offering concessions like that right now. That's the second highest level since 2019. That's a big number. The savviest sellers are the ones taking advantage of every opportunity to work with buyers. It'll help if you think of concessions as tools, not losses. Use them to bridge gaps, sweeten deals, and get across the finish line, and don't stress. Since prices went up roughly 54% over the past 5 years, you've got plenty of room to make a concession or two and still come out ahead. Just work with the agent who understands which concessions could be key to to sealing the deal. Bottom line, the takeaway is this isn't a bad market, it's just a different one. Sellers are going to succeed in the months ahead, and they're the ones who understand the shift and lean into it with the right expectations, the right agent, and the right strategy. Zillow says its well priced homes are likely to sell quickly, but pricing your home to sell quickly and for maximum dollar requires strategy and knowledge of your local market. You need to have a clear eyed view of your home in relation to the competition and knowledge about whether you're in a buyer's or seller's market. Next slide. Housing market forecast for the rest of 2025. We are in the fourth quarter in September of 2025. And here's what the forecast looks like. So, if you've been watching the market, you'll likely notice a few changes already this year. But what's next? From home prices to mortgage rates, here's what the latest expert forecast suggests for the rest of 25 and what these shifts could mean for you. Will home prices fall? Many people are hoping home prices will come down soon, and recent headlines about prices dipping in some areas are making people believe it's just a matter of time before there's a bigger drop. But here are the facts. While home price growth is slowing down, that doesn't mean we have headed for a crash. It just means things are moderating and prices aren't climbing nearly as fast as they were, as the National Association of Home Builders explains. House prices growth slowed, partly due to a decline in demand and an increase in supply. Persistent high mortgage rates and increased inventory combine to ease upward pressure on house prices. These factors signal the cooling market following rapid gains seen in previous years. See, the average of all eight, which is Cotality, HPES, Fannie Mae, Realtor.com, Wells Fargo, MBA, and National Association of Realtors, not including Zillow and Redfin, the average is 1.5% is what home prices will rise nationally, but not as fast. But keep in mind, real estate is always local, and just national averages don't really dictate what your local price average is going to be. So you might be in an area with very high prices and low interest in buyers buying, or you might be in a location where there's buyers who really want to get into the house and there's not much inventory around. So although everything is slowing, it is very crucial to understand and pay attention to the local market. But like with anything, it varies by areas I discussed. Some markets are cooling more than others. Even in markets where prices have come down slightly, the average dip is just minus 3.5%. That's a far cry from the nearly 20% decline the market experienced during the 2008 crash. Plus, those small changes are easily absorbed when you consider how much home prices have climbed over the past few years. So, predominantly in Fremont, most of the zip codes have gone up in the last 3 years by 97% of home value. Let that sink in. 3 years and 97% of home value appreciation. The buyer market cannot absorb that anymore because it's all about affordability. And that's what's happening in the Tri City and the Tri Valley area in the East Bay part of the Bay Area. So the takeaway are prices aren't crashing. They're expected to keep climbing nationally, just not as quickly these days. And some may argue they'll be closer to flat by the end of this year, but this is going to vary by market with some local ups and downs. So lean on a professional to see the latest price trends for your area. Will mortgage rates come down? Yes. Another common thought among today's buyers is I'm just going to wait for rates to come down, but is that a smart strategy? According to Yahoo Finance, if you're looking for a substantial interest rate drop in 2025, you'll likely be left waiting. The latest news from the Federal Reserve and other key economic data point towards steady mortgage rates on par with what we're seeing today. In other words, don't try to time the market or wait for a drop that may not be coming. While rates did come down a bit over the summer, most experts say rates will remain in the sixes, and projections have them settling in the mid sixes range by the end of this year. So, quarter three of 2025, average of Fannie Mae, MBA, and Wells Fargo is 6.68. Quarter four, this is the last quarter, 6.5 to 6.55. Quarter one of 2026, 6.47 is the average consensus, and quarter three or two of 2026 is 6.4. So it's going to be in the low sixes. And sometimes, if the Federal Reserve actually reduces the interest rate, this might come down to the 5.8, 5.9 range. So, and that's not a big change from where they are right now. So, if you need to move, let's talk about how to make it happen and what you should watch for. Because while rates may not be as low as you want them to be, you don't want to put your needs on the back burner. Hoping for a big drop, the data shows it isn't likely going to happen. Of course, things can change. That's why working with an expert who's keeping an eye on all the economic factors that can influence mortgage rates is going to be essential this year. That's because shifts in things like inflation, employment, and other key drivers could impact how mortgage rates move going forwards. The takeaway for homeowners, this market requires strategy, not guesswork or tactics. Prices are still rising nationally, just more slowly, and rates are projected to stay pretty much where they are. So the bigger picture is one of moderation, not a meltdown. If you want to make a move, your best bet is to focus on your personal situation, not what the headlines say and not what the averages say, and work with a real professional who knows how to navigate the shifting conditions in our local market. Let's talk. Uh, Call me at 510-374-2264. Moving on. What more sellers are choosing to move even with today's rates? It's hard to get let go of a 3% mortgage rate. There's no question about it. It's the main reason so many homeowners have delayed their move in recent years. But here's something to consider. While your low rate might be ideal, it doesn't make up being too cramped. Having a staircase your knees can't handle anymore, or being 1,000 miles away from your family. And those real life needs are pushing more sellers off the fence despite today's rates. Data shows that the share of homeowners with a mortgage rate below 3% is dropping as more people move, and as a result, the share of homeowners taking on a rate above 6% is rising too. So, if you look at this chart here, people are moving despite taking on a higher rate. The blue is mortgage rates below 3%, which is 21.8%, quarter one 2024. The orange is 6% mortgage rate or higher. And in 2025, first quarter, 20.7% is locked in at 3%, while the people who are moving at the 6% mortgage rate are 18.8%. The biggest reasons people are moving right now. Why are homeowners willing to take on a higher rate? A survey from Realtor.com helps shed light on that. Shows 79% of homeowners considering selling today are doing it out of necessity. And most of the necessary reasons people are moving are non financial in nature. Most motivators for moving today are non financial. Let's take a look at the breakup from this chart from Realtor.com. Looking for a different community, 46%. To make a profit, 36%. Need for space, 34%. Need to downsize, 25%. Potential buyers have shown a lot of interest for my home, 21%. I need to move for family, 21%. Life events like marriage, kids, divorce, etc., 18%. I need to move for work, return to office, new job, 15%. So, do any of these reasons resonate for you too? If it does, reach me at 510-374-2264. So if you need more space, whether it's welcoming a new baby or having your parents move in so it's easier to take care of them, outgrow your space can happen very fast. You need less space, kids are out of your house and you're empty nesters and you're craving a life that's a little simpler. Downsizing can mean fewer rooms to clean and less to maintain. You want to be closer to family, whether it's to help with grandchildren or care for aging parents. Sometimes the pull of being near loved ones outweighs the math. A relationship in your life has changed, divorce, separation, or can create the need for a new place to call home. Your job is taking you somewhere new. If you finally landed your dream job, your partner's company is relocating, you may need to move too. So, how much longer are you willing to press pause on your life? That's a good question. So Bankrate says with home equity steadily rising over the past 5 years across 90% of major metro areas, American homeowners have gained significant wealth, averaging nearly 150,000. While home price growth has begun to slow recently, equity continues to be an extremely valuable commodity for homeowners. And for Bay Area homeowners, in the last 5 to 6 years, equity has gone up by 400 to 600,000 versus the national average of 150,000. Home equity, what is it? Home equity is the difference between how much your home is worth and how much you still owe on your mortgage. So if the national average here is 400,000 and you own the 200,000 on the property, as an example, your equity would be 200,000, which is the balance or the subtraction of the 200,000 from the 400,000. In the Bay Area, the average is about 1.4 to 1.5 million. And if you owe 50% to the bank, 50% is your equity, so that's 700 to 800,000 in equity. Why equity is such a big deal for homeowners looking to sell? Recent data from the census and Atom shows how significant today's home equity really is. In fact, more than two-thirds of homeowners have either completely paid off their mortgages, as seen in this chart. This is a very nice, beautiful chart. It clearly shows two-thirds of Americans have paid off their mortgage or have least less than 50% equity, or they have at least 50% equity. So 39.8% of homeowners have that. The blue is 28.5% mortgage homes with more than 50% equity. The orange is mortgage homes with less than 50% equity. So there's a lot of equity built up. Uh, that's part of the reason why the share of all cash buyers recently reached a new high. So people with equity, they sell their home, and look at this: 26% of buyers are able to buy without a mortgage. They pay all cash because if they have, after their house is paid off, or if they have more than 50% equity, 26% of buyers nationwide are buying with cash. Imagine buying your next house cash, no mortgage, no monthly payment, no mortgage rate to mess with. So if you want to find out how much equity you have, uh, just give me a call, 510-374-2264. No obligation to work with me. I'll give you a free, most accurate report for your house. Let's look at a short checklist for selling a house. This is not very detailed, but this can be used as a rule of thumb to start your process as a checklist for selling a house. So put it into three different categories. One is making it inviting, showing it's cared for, and third is boosting curb appeal. Open your blinds or curtains, check light bulbs and replace as needed, take down personal photos items, declutter throughout, and give every room a clear purpose. Number two is show it's cared for. So clean your vents and baseboards, vacuum, mop, or sweep floors, fix anything that's broken, organize countertops, cabinets, and closets, and touch up any scuffs on the walls. Third is boosting curb appeal. Power wash outdoor surfaces. If they're HOA, if you have a HOA, they will not allow you to do that. So always check with the professional or call me, and I will check with the HOA to see if they allow it. Wash the windows inside and out. This can be done manually. Tidying up the landscaping, freshening up your entryway, and sweeping patios, decks, and walkways. The next chart is why are sellers hiring real estate agents today? Selling your house without an agent as a for sale by owner may be something you have considered. But in today's shifting market, more homeowners realize that's not worth the risk. So, as per National Association of Realtors, this is the source. If you look, so 1981, there was 21% of homeowners sold their house as for sale by owner. But look at here, in 2024, it's 6% and heading lower. This is because of the complexity in selling real estate. It used to be easier, but now it's a lot more paperwork, lot more guidelines, lot more state laws, HOA rules and regulations. Marketing has changed drastically from offline to online, and a combination of both. Follow processes, AI, there's a whole plethora of items that have changed. So, what used to work in selling the house does not work anymore. This is the reason why most people, 94% of home sellers, actually use a realtor. Now, let's look at what is helping the house sell. Getting the right price, number one. Out of the biggest hurdles when selling a house on your own is figuring out the right price. It's not as simple as picking a number that sounds good, as you need to hit the bullseye where the market is right now, and that changes all the time. So just getting online reviews, I mean estimates from third party vendors like Zillow, Redfin, or any other third party companies, it's not entirely accurate, because by the time you're looking at the estimate, some new property has sold, and it doesn't account for what is happening in the market. So you need a professional realtor who will give you the most accurate valuation and how to price it right. Understanding and managing legal documentation. There's also a mountain of documentation when selling a house, and a mistake can have big legal implications. This is another area where having a professional agent can help. So, handling documents and guiding you through the process. That's another big thing. Number three is selling quickly in a shifting market. The longer the house sits on the market, the harder it is to sell, because more and more buyers are moving away from a house that is sitting on the market. So you want to price it right, you want to market it right, you want to show it right, and you want to sell it fast. So now that the number of homes for sale has grown, which are competing homes, homes aren't selling at quite the same pace that they were. But you can still sell quickly if you have a proven plan to help your house stand out. Bottom line, you don't want to take all of this on by yourself. Let's connect. Call me, Robbie Thomas, 510-374-2264, Bay Area Downsizer. Next thing is key reasons to hire an agent when you sell. Number one is industry experience. Well versed in the housing market and knowing the in and out of the entire process. Number two is expert insights. Simplify and effectively explain today's market conditions and what they mean for you. Number three is pricing and market value, helping you understand today's real estate values when setting the price of a listing or making an offer to purchase your next home. Number four is contracts and fine print. Educate you with all the disclosures and documents necessary in today's heavily regulated environment. Number five is marketing and exposure. Having effective marketing tools and networks to attract more buyers. Negotiation experience. Act as a buffer in negotiations with all parties throughout the entire transaction. So we have been through a lot of slides and a lot of information. Although this is not complete or a master class, you can reach out to me for any property valuation, or if you need a specific custom marketing plan before you put your house on the market. You have one chance and one chance only to wow and impress potential buyers in this tough market, which is shifting. There are real buyers out there. Finding them, the ready, willing, and the motivated person is important. So give me a call at 510 374 2264. Thank you. Bye.